He's not who you think he is. The camera on my dashboard captured my niece's terrified expression as she gripped the door handle of my parked car, ready to bolt. If I disappear, don't let him be the one to look for me. He's the last person you should trust. Her mascara-streaked face disappeared into the night before I could respond, leaving me frozen in the driver's seat, her final words echoing in my mind. He still owes me $20,000 for what he made me do. That was 2 hours ago. Now I'm parked outside my boyfriend Alex's luxury apartment complex, watching through his uncovered windows as he frantically makes phone calls, paces the floor, and deletes files from his computer. The man I've loved for 2 years. The man who, just days ago, I was considering marrying. The man who produced adult films starring my niece. It all started at Mia's graduation celebration last Friday. I was in my sister's kitchen, laughing as Alex mixed drinks with the casual confidence that had first attracted me to him. The noise from the party faded when Mia appeared in the doorway, back from college after nearly a year away. Her body went rigid. Alex's whiskey glass slipped from his fingers, shattering on the tile. Their eyes locked in a moment of mutual horror before both looked away, pretending nothing had happened. "Everything okay?" I asked, already feeling the ground shift beneath my feet. "Fine," they answered in unison, too quickly, too rehearsed. For the next 3 hours, I watched them perform an elaborate avoidance dance. If Mia entered the living room, Alex would suddenly need air on the patio. If he was talking with my brother-in-law, she'd volunteer to help in the kitchen. The tension between them was like a live wire, dangerous and undeniable. That night, after everyone had left, I cornered Alex in our bedroom. "How do you know my niece?" I demanded. His face drained of color. "What are you talking about? Don't lie to me. I saw how you both reacted when she walked in. You know each other." He stared at me for what felt like minutes before finally saying, "Yeah, but it's not what you think." "Then what is it?" His answer changed everything. Complicated. No matter how I pressed, he refused to elaborate, claiming he needed time to figure out how to explain. I went to bed alone that night, my mind racing with possibilities, each worse than the last. Growing up, I was always the responsible one. While my younger sister Diane chased dreams of becoming an actress in LA, I stayed in Vegas, built a stable career as a high school teacher, and created a life of predictable routine. I was the steady one, the reliable sister who picked up the pieces when Diane's dreams inevitably crashed. Diane eventually settled down too, but not before having Mia at a young age. I became more than an aunt to Mia. I was her confidant, her second mother. I helped with homework, attended every school play, and offered advice about college when the time came. I'd met Alex at a teaching conference 2 years ago. He was charming, successful, and claimed to work in media production. Our relationship progressed quickly. He was everything I thought I wanted: attentive, smart, financially stable. For once, I wasn't the one fixing someone else's mess. The day after the graduation party, my phone rang. Mia's name flashed on the screen. "Can we meet?" she asked, her voice trembling. "Alone, please." We arranged to meet at a coffee shop far from both our neighborhoods. When I arrived, Mia was already there, fidgeting with a paper napkin she'd shredded into tiny pieces. Her eyes were red-rimmed. "I don't know how to say this," she began, staring into her untouched coffee. "Just tell me," I said, reaching for her hand. She pulled away. "I work as an actress," she said finally. I nodded, confused. "Okay, that's not a big revelation, honey." "In adult films." The words hung in the air between us. My niece, the little girl I'd helped raise, was working in porn. Before I could process this, she continued. "Your boyfriend, Alex? He was one of the producers on several projects I worked on." The coffee shop seemed to tilt sideways. I gripped the edge of the table. "He still owes me money," she added, her voice hardening. "A lot of money." I couldn't speak, couldn't move. My boyfriend of 2 years had produced adult films starring my niece. had seen her. I couldn't even complete the thought. I quit 6 months ago, Mia continued. But he never paid me for my last 3 films. Over $20,000. Does your mom know about any of this? Mia shook her head. You're the only one I've told. And I'm only telling you because you deserve to know who you're with. I left the coffee shop in a daze, ignoring Alex's calls and texts. When I finally returned home, I couldn't look at him. Every touch made my skin crawl. Every word from his mouth sounded like a lie. I moved into our guest room without explanation. When he asked what was wrong, I couldn't even form the words. How do you ask someone? Did you film my niece having sex and then refuse to pay her? After 3 days of this silent treatment, Alex cornered me in the kitchen. This is about Mia, isn't it? He demanded. Look, it's not what you think. You keep saying that, I snapped. So, explain it to me. Make me understand how my boyfriend knows my niece from adult films. He sighed, running a hand through his hair. I was a producer for Platinum Entertainment for 5 years. It was just a job. I didn't know she was your niece until I saw her at your sister's house. And the money you owe her? His face fell. The company folded before the final payments were processed. It wasn't just Mia. Dozens of performers and crew members got stiffed. But you were a producer. A junior producer. I didn't handle the finances. He reached for my hand. Rachel, please. I left that industry over a year ago. It was just bad luck that Mia happened to work on some of my projects. I pulled away. Bad luck? That's what you call it. What do you want me to say? I didn't know she was related to you. I needed to talk to Mia again, to hear her side, to make sense of this mess. But when I called, she didn't answer. Text messages went unread. I drove by her apartment, but no one came to the door. After a week of trying to reach her, I called my sister in a panic. Have you heard from Mia lately? I asked, trying to sound casual. No, but that's normal for her, Diane replied. She gets busy with her own life. Why? I couldn't tell her the truth. Just haven't heard from her since the party, and she seemed upset about something. I'll try calling her, Diane promised. But Mia had vanished. No calls, no texts, nothing. Nobody in the family had seen or spoken to her. I was beside myself with worry. Had something happened to her? Was she ashamed after our conversation? Or worse, was Alex somehow involved in her disappearance? That night, Alex found me frantically dialing Mia's number for the 20th time. Still no answer? He asked. I shook my head, tears of frustration welling in my eyes. I could help you find her, he offered quietly. I looked up sharply. What? I still have contacts in the industry. I might be able to find out where she is. My first instinct was to refuse. I didn't want his help, didn't trust his motives. But Mia had been missing for over a week now, and I was desperate. Why would you help me find her? I demanded. Because I care about you. And because I need to make things right with her too. Against my better judgment, I agreed. Fine, but I'm coming with you. The next evening, I sat in my car outside Alex's apartment, waiting to hear where he thought Mia might be. Part of me still wondered if this was all some elaborate cover-up. But what choice did I have? After what seemed like hours, Alex emerged and got into my passenger seat. I found her, he said without preamble. Where is she? Is she okay? He hesitated. She's working. My voice rose in panic. You mean she's back doing porn? No, not exactly. She's filming a reality show. The Real Life, or something like that. I blinked in confusion. A reality show? Like Big Brother. Similar, but for a more adult audience. Less censorship, more drama. It's a closed set, contestants stay in the house for 8 weeks with no outside contact. That explained why she wasn't answering her phone. But something still felt off. And this just happened to start right after our coffee shop meeting? Alex shrugged. The timing's a coincidence. These shows plan casting months in advance. I studied his face, looking for deception. How do you know all this? He sighed. Because I called in favors to find out. People I used to work with are involved with the production. So she's safe? Just filming a TV show. Yes, she's safe. He hesitated again. But there's more. I braced myself. Tell me. The prize for winning is $200,000. And I think that's why she took the job. To get the money the company owes her. I stared at him. You said it was around 20,000. Why would she need to win 200,000? Alex looked down. Because I can't pay her back what she's owed. I'm broke, Rachel. The company's bankruptcy took everything. I've been living on credit cards for months. The pieces finally clicked into place. His eagerness to find Mia wasn't about helping me, it was about himself. He was hoping she'd win the show and get enough money that she'd forget about what he owed her. Get out of my car, I said quietly. Rachel, please get out. He left without another word. I sat there, engine running, trying to process everything. My boyfriend was broke. He'd produced adult films starring my niece. And now she was trapped in some reality show house, possibly trying to earn money she was already owed. I pulled out my phone and searched for the real-life reality show. The results made my stomach turn. It was pitched as the most uncensored reality show on streaming, with contestants performing outrageous challenges for cash prizes. The promotional images showed young women in revealing outfits posing around a mansion. This wasn't just any reality show. This was exploitation, pure and simple. I needed to get Mia out of there. But how? I had no idea where the show was filming or how to contact her. I needed help, professional help. The next morning, I called in sick to school and drove to a small office building downtown. The sign on the door read Malone Investigations. The woman behind the desk was in her 50s, with sharp eyes and a no-nonsense demeanor. I'm Deborah Malone, she said. What can I help you with? I explained the situation, leaving out the specific nature of the films Mia had worked on, saying only that Alex had been her producer and owed her money. And now she's on this reality show, but I can't contact her, and I'm worried it might be exploitative. I finished. Deborah took notes. These reality shows often film in rented mansions around the city. I can probably locate it within a day or two. But then what? You can't just walk onto a closed set. I need to talk to her. Make sure she's okay. And if she's not. I trailed off. If she's not, we get her out. Deborah finished. My daughter had a bad experience with one of these shows 3 years ago. I'll help you, but my services aren't cheap. Money's not an issue, I said, though my teacher's salary certainly made that a lie. 2 days later, Deborah called me. Found it. They're filming at an estate in Henderson. I also did some digging on the production company, Pure Reality Productions. They've had multiple complaints about working conditions, but nothing that stuck. What about visiting? Can contestants have visitors? Only on designated days, and family has to be pre-approved. But I found something else interesting. One of the producers is a man named Eric Daniels. He used to work for Platinum Entertainment. I finished, my heart sinking. With Alex. Exactly. And here's where it gets concerning. I spoke to a PA who worked on the first week of filming. She quit because she was uncomfortable with how they were treating the female contestants. Apparently, the challenges get pretty demeaning, and there's heavy pressure to drink during filming. My hands tightened around the phone. I need to get her out of there. I might have a way, Deborah said. But you need to come to my office and bring any contract of Mia's you might have from the Platinum days. When I hung up, I realized I had no access to Mia's paperwork. But I knew who might. For the first time in 2 weeks, I called Alex. I need Mia's contract with Platinum, I said without greeting. His voice was cautious. Why? Because I know Eric Daniels is producing The Real Life, and I want to see if there's any connection. Silence, then. How did you never mind? I don't have her contracts. Those would be with legal. But you must have something. Email correspondence, payment records, anything. Another pause. I might have some emails. I'll look. An hour later, he texted me, "Found some. Where should I send them?" I directed him to forward everything to Deborah's email, then headed to her office. Deborah had the emails printed and spread across her desk when I arrived. "These are interesting," she said, tapping one page. "Look at the contract terms." I scanned the document, legal jargon swimming before my eyes until a clause jumped out. Talent agrees that producer retains first right of refusal for any and all media appearances for a period of 18 months following final payment for services rendered. What does that mean? I asked. It means that legally, Platinum, or whoever bought their assets in bankruptcy, has to approve any media work Mia does for 18 months after her last payment. But she never received her last payment. Deborah nodded grimly. Exactly. Which means this clause remains in effect indefinitely until payment is made. And guess who bought Platinum's contracts when they folded? My stomach dropped. Pure Reality Productions? Got it in one. Eric Daniels transferred over, brought the contracts with him, and is essentially forcing these performers to work on his new show or never work in media again. I sat back, stunned. That's blackmail. It's the entertainment industry, Deborah corrected. But it's also potentially illegal if they're using these contracts to coerce people. So what do we do? First, we need to make contact with Mia. The show has family visit day this Sunday. I can't get you on the approved list, but she slid a staff ID badge across the desk. My contact says the catering company is always short-staffed. Show up at 7 a.m., say you're with high-class catering, and use this to get on the property. On Sunday morning, I arrived at the mansion in Henderson wearing black pants and a white shirt as instructed. The security guard barely glanced at my borrowed ID before waving me through to the catering entrance. Inside, chaos reigned as staff prepared for the day's filming. I grabbed an apron from a hook and a tray of pastries from the counter, then slipped away from the kitchen toward the main house. The contestants were kept in a separate wing until filming began. I had to find Mia before the cameras started rolling. Balancing the tray, I walked purposefully down hallways, checking rooms. Finally, I heard voices behind a door marked female contestants, no entry without authorization. I took a deep breath and knocked. A production assistant opened the door. Yes, I lifted my tray. Breakfast for the contestants? They eat in the main dining room in an hour. Special request from Eric, I improvised. He wants them energized for the family visits. Said something about a surprise challenge. The PA rolled her eyes. Fine. Just be quick. I entered a large room where 8 young women were getting their hair and makeup done. And there, in the corner, was Mia. She looked exhausted, dark circles under her eyes poorly concealed by makeup. When she saw me, her expression flickered between shock, relief, and fear. Pastry? I offered loudly, walking directly to her. Then, in a whisper, bathroom. Now. Mia nodded almost imperceptibly, then said to her makeup artist, I need to use the restroom. The woman sighed. Hurry back. We're behind schedule. I waited 30 seconds, then followed Mia to the attached bathroom, locking the door behind us. What are you doing here? She hissed. If they catch you, are you okay? I cut her off, examining her face. Are they hurting you? Not physically, she said. But this show, it's not what they promised. The challenges are humiliating. They keep us up all night, limit our food, push alcohol on us constantly. I know about Eric Daniels, I said. And the contract clause. Deborah Malone found it. Mia's eyes widened. You hired a private investigator? You disappeared. What was I supposed to do? She sat on the edge of the bathtub. I didn't want to drag you into this mess any further. After telling you about Alex, I felt so ashamed. You have nothing to be ashamed of, I insisted. But you need to get out of here. This show is exploiting you. I can't leave, she said. If I quit, I lose any chance at the prize money. And I need it. Not just for what Alex owes me, but for tuition. My student loans are crushing me. There are other ways to get money. Legal ways to fight for what you're owed. A pounding on the door interrupted us. Mia, makeup needs you back now. 1 minute, she called. Listen, I whispered urgently. Deborah thinks we can challenge the contract, but we need you to come with us to talk to her lawyer friend. I signed an ironclad NDA for this show, Mia whispered back. If I leave, they'll sue me for everything I have, which is nothing. I'll be in worse debt than before. The pounding came again, more insistent. Give me 3 days, I pleaded. Don't sign anything else. Don't do anything you're uncomfortable with. Just hold on for 3 days, and I'll find a way to get you out legally. She hesitated, then nodded. 3 days. But be careful around Eric. He's dangerous when crossed. I slipped out of the bathroom first, picked up my abandoned tray, and headed back toward the kitchen. My heart was racing, but relief washed over me. Mia was alive. Trapped, but alive. As I rounded a corner, I nearly collided with a tall man in an expensive suit. Sorry, I mumbled, trying to move past. No problem, he replied, then paused. Wait, you're not with our regular catering company. I looked up into the face of Eric Daniels. I recognized him from photos Deborah had shown me. New hire, I said, forcing a smile. First day. His eyes narrowed. What's your name? Maria, I lied. He stared at me for a long moment, then nodded slowly. Enjoy your first day, Maria. I hurried away, certain he knew I was lying, but unsure why he'd let me go. Once safely in my car, I called Deborah. I talked to Mia. She's okay, but scared to leave because of the NDA and potential lawsuit. I thought that might be the case, Deborah replied. But I've got good news. My lawyer friend specializes in entertainment contracts. He says there's a solid case for nullifying both the platinum contract and the reality show agreement based on coercion and failure to pay. But he needs to see all the paperwork. Mia would have to bring it, and she can't leave the set. Actually, Deborah said, family visit day means contestants can receive personal items. Mail her a prepaid envelope addressed to my office. Tell her to send copies of everything she signed. It was a risk, but our best option. I dropped the envelope at the security gate later that day, marked with Mia's name and contestant number. 2 days later, Deborah called me excitedly. We've got it. The smoking gun is in the reality show contract. There's a clause allowing them to use footage of her in any way they want, including in adult content, without additional compensation. That can't be legal, I gasped. It's not, especially since they buried it on page 37 in tiny print. And here's the kicker. Eric Daniels is listed as having power of attorney for the platinum assets, but the bankruptcy filing shows those assets were supposed to be liquidated to pay creditors, including your niece. He's been hiding assets. So what do we do now? We go to the production company with what we know and demand Mia's immediate release from the contract. If they refuse, we go to the press. Reality shows hate bad publicity. I hesitated. What about Alex's role in all this? From what I can tell, he was a small fish. Probably had no idea what Eric was doing with the contracts after bankruptcy. But he definitely should have paid your niece. That evening, my doorbell rang. I opened it to find Alex standing there, looking haggard. You went to the set, he said. It wasn't a question. How did you know? Eric called me. Said a woman matching your description was there claiming to be catering staff. He recognized you from photos in my apartment. A chill ran down my spine. Why are you telling me this? Because Eric is dangerous. If he thinks you're interfering with his show, he'll come after you. These people don't play by normal rules. These people? You were one of them. I was a junior producer who got in over his head. I never wanted any part of the shady stuff. He ran a hand through his hair. Look, I know I can't fix what happened with Mia, but I can help you get her out of there. I crossed my arms. How? I have records. Things I kept as insurance when things started going south at Platinum. Emails, memos, bank transfers, all showing how Eric was skimming money that should have gone to talent and crew. Why didn't you turn this over to authorities? Because I was implicated too. Not in the theft, but in covering it up. I was scared of what would happen to my career. I studied his face, looking for deception. And now you're willing to risk that? For you? Yes. He pulled a flash drive from his pocket. Everything's on here. Bank records, emails, the works. Give it to your investigator. It should be enough leverage to get Mia released without any repercussions. I took the flash drive, still suspicious of his motives. Thank you, but this doesn't fix things between us. I know, he said quietly, but maybe it's a start. After he left, I drove straight to Deborah's office and handed her the flash drive. She spent hours reviewing the documents. This is explosive, she said finally. Not just contract violations, but actual fraud. Talent payouts being diverted to shell companies controlled by Eric. Tax evasion. Everything we need. The next morning, Deborah and her lawyer friend confronted Pure Reality Productions' legal team with everything we had. By afternoon, Mia was released from her contract with a severance payment of $30,000, the exact amount she was owed from Platinum, plus interest. When she walked out of the mansion with her bags, I was waiting in the parking lot. She dropped everything and ran into my arms, sobbing. "It's over," I whispered. "You're free." "How did you do it?" she asked. "I had help. A good investigator, a better lawyer, and..." I hesitated. "And Alex." She stiffened in my arms. "Alex?" "He provided evidence against Eric. Records of financial wrongdoing." "Why would he do that?" I sighed. "He says to make things right." I don't know if I believe him, but without his help, this might not have worked. As we drove away from the mansion, Mia asked the question I'd been dreading. "What happens now?" "With you and Alex." "We're done," I said firmly. "Some betrayals can't be erased by one good deed." "And us? Are we okay?" I reached over and squeezed her hand. "We're family. Nothing changes that." 2 months later, Mia started her final year of college with her debts paid and a part-time job at Deborah Malone's office. The investigation into Pure Reality Productions and Eric Daniels was ongoing, with several former Platinum performers coming forward with similar stories. Alex moved back to Los Angeles. He sends me emails occasionally, which I rarely answer. The last one contained proof he'd testified against Eric in a deposition, doing the right thing, finally. Yesterday, Mia and I had lunch at our old favorite cafe. "I've been thinking about writing about this," she said. Not as a tell-all, but as a cautionary tale about the reality TV and adult industries. How they exploit people, especially women. "I think that's a great idea," I told her. "Your story could help others." "Our story," she corrected. "I couldn't have escaped without you." As we finished our meal, she asked, "Do you ever regret finding out? About Alex? About everything? Would you have been happier not knowing?" I considered the question carefully. No. Living in ignorance isn't really living. And sometimes the hardest truths lead to the greatest growth. She nodded. I used to think I had to handle everything alone. That asking for help was weakness. I was wrong. We both were, I admitted. But we're learning. Walking out into the sunshine, I felt lighter than I had in months. The path forward wasn't clear yet, but at least we were walking it together, eyes wide open. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.